My name is Katie Ransom. I have been a Whole Foods Market team member since 2015, and I had the pleasure of working closely with Fresh Approach last summer on a fundraising initiative, and I'm both personally and professionally delighted to represent Whole Foods Market today. We're here to talk about food access and the inaccessibility of healthy food in our own backyard. Fresh Approach's mission is to create long-term change in local food systems. To achieve that mission, Fresh Approach has developed partnerships with certified farmers markets, community-based organizations, businesses, schools, public health departments, community clinics, and other stakeholders in 6 Bay Area communities. I'm so excited to publicly announce Whole Foods Market sponsorship of Fresh Approach's mobile farmers market in East Oakland. In 2013, Fresh Approach launched their mobile farmers market. This is a farmers market on wheels that improves access to local, seasonal produce in underserved communities where fresh produce is not accessible. 100% of the produce sold on the mobile farmers market is sourced from local farms in California. East Oakland route is the 7th for Fresh Approach. It's already served 700 individuals and delivered $6,000 worth of produce. Whole Foods Market sponsorship of the East Oakland route runs from October 2017 to October 2018. And the East Oakland routes run on Sundays, and its sites include the Allen Baptist Church and the Center of Hope. Thank you, Fresh Approach. We are so excited to see your continued impact on the Oakland community. Thank you, guys. We had hoped that Mayor Schaaf would be here today to open up the proceedings, but she was not able to attend, so I'm going to read a statement on her behalf. We are thrilled about the partnership between Fresh Approach and Whole Foods to expand the Freshest Cargo initiative to underserved communities in Oakland. Ensuring that all communities have equal access to fresh, healthy food is a key endeavor that we should all get behind. We are so excited and thankful for Mayor Schaaf's support and involvement in this program, and wish that she could have been here today to express those sentiments herself. And now I have the pleasure of introducing some great speakers who have been integrally involved with Whole Foods Market and Fresh Approach. The first person I'd like to introduce is Rob Twyman. He is the regional president for Whole Foods Market in Northern California and Reno. He has been a Whole Foods Market team member since 1993, but has been involved and passionate about natural and organic foods for over 35 years. Rob Twyman.
Thank you, Katie. Yeah, 35 years makes me sound really old. So I could not be any more excited than today to announce the partnership with Whole Foods and Fresh Approach. Fresh Approach, of course, finding new and innovative ways to provide and enhance food access in California communities, and being able to connect local farmers to the East Oakland neighborhoods. This is a cause that's near and dear to Whole Foods Market for a couple reasons. One is that at Whole Foods, we absolutely believe that food is integral to community in the way that markets all across the world, food markets have always been that's sort of the tradition of bringing communities together and being the hub to the community. We've always used food as a vehicle to do that. The other part is really the belief and the understanding that access to fresh food also enhances the health and well-being of communities. And that's, we see that everywhere we go. We see that with our Whole Kids Foundation and bringing salad bars and gardens to communities, that when people have access to fresh food, when they have access to healthy foods, there's a fundamental and immediate impact on the health of that community. So for that reason, we're very excited, and it really is a no-brainer for us because that's what we're about and that's what Fresh Approach is about. If I think of my own experience going back, I was a child of the late 60s and the early 70s. My mom was a working mom. And so growing up, I ate a lot of lousy food. I ate, the Swanson TV dinners with that Salisbury steak. I still don't know today what that was. And even fresh food was not necessarily a thing growing up. Broccoli, as I knew it growing up, came out of a bag from the frozen section. My mom was from the Midwest. She was working hard. She was exhausted when she came home, and so she'd throw it in the boiling water and boil it to death to that kind of neutral army green. It had, no flavor, no texture, and oftentimes in order to enhance it, she'd put that Velveeta cheese stuff on it that is neither cheese nor sauce. It was just sort of this vegetable cube of protein that would be poured over it. And so growing up, I didn't really know what that was like. And I can tell you the day that my perspective on fresh food really happened, and it was the day that I worked at Bread and Circus. Katie alluded to, I started at Whole Foods in '83. In fact, I started at Bread and Circus, which was a company that Whole Foods eventually bought outside of Boston. And I was working there. I'd gotten a summer job there, and I remember going back to the parking lot, and my boss at the time, who was this kind of old hippie guy, was sitting in his obligatory VW van, cross-legged with a ceramic bowl and chopsticks, and he was eating broccoli, steamed carrots on a bed of brown rice. And it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. It was bright green broccoli. It was bright orange carrots. It was on a bed of rice, and you could actually see the grains of rice, unlike the minute rice that I grew up with. It was just kind of like this porridge. And it was beautiful. And he said, would you like to try some? I said, sure, it looks amazing. And that was the day for me that my life was transformed, that I understood what fresh food was about. And nobody should be robbed of that experience. Nobody should be robbed of the ability to have access to fresh, healthy, wonderful food. And that's why we're here today. That's why Whole Foods is here today. And that's why Fresh Approach is here today, to partner with us to be able to bring fresh, healthy food to underserved communities. And again, I just couldn't be any more excited. It's my great pleasure to introduce Lucy Norris, Executive Director of Fresh Approach, to talk a little bit about her perspective with Fresh Approach and the partnership that we're announcing today. So thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you. So thanks, Rob, for that. And thank you so much for the support that Whole Foods has given to Fresh Approach and our partners at Allen Temple Baptist Church and Center for Hope. We could not do this without first having established some trusted partnerships in the communities that we're in. And both of our primary partners in the faith-based community in East Oakland have their own initiatives to really solve problems in their communities, and they needed resources and a partner like us to, we have a truck, we have relationships with farms, we have nutritionists and different people on our staff that are really happy to partner with people to say, listen, you bring this to the table, we bring this to the table, let's work together to solve those problems. And in this particular instance, no, we're not addressing huge issues. We're not placing a massive supermarket. We're not putting in a farmer's market that's going to be there every week for years. But this is a good start. And this is a way that we can bring this produce into communities where people can have, just the face-to-face interaction. They can smell, they can touch, they can taste, they can try things, they can share ideas, share recipes. They can, really start to come together and create a culture of health in the communities that they live in. And that's the one thing that we're proud to help foster. Again, this is not, a mobile farmers market isn't going to solve major problems, but we have to start somewhere. And this is our aim, to help be in communities where people want us, want the produce, and really try to make long-term change. And I can't be more proud of our staff who are in the communities working. They're at the meetings. They're working across the table to try to figure out ways that we can expand on our work. And the support that we're getting right now with this next year through Whole Foods is really critical to helping us be at that table, and also to bring the truck every week. So just thank you so much for being here. Really, really excited about this next year. And I'm looking forward to growing these relationships as we move forward.
Thank you so much, Lucy. As she kind of touched on, 50% of people in East Oakland do not have a grocery store within walking distance, so it's so important that we're bringing this fresh, healthy produce directly to the people in East Oakland. Our next speaker is Gloria Crowell. And one of Fresh Approach's strategies is to take the mobile farmers market to community hubs. And Gloria is the executive director of the Allen Temple Baptist Church AIDS Ministry, a part of their community care ministries. Gloria has worked in multiple areas of organizational development, including community outreach, program planning, program design, board development and training, and meeting facilitation. Recognizing direct connection between food and health, Gloria's efforts have helped bring the freshest cargo truck to the East Oakland route at Allen Temple.
Thank you. Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. And the biggest of thank yous to Whole Foods. You know, we in East Oakland sometimes feel like we are in the biggest of food deserts. You know, there are some stores, but not enough. And certainly not within walking distance. I would love to live around the corner and then every day go walk around the corner to Whole Foods and get my lovely produce and fresh vegetables and fruits, bring it home and cook it, but it's just really not like that. And you know, we want to be just like other communities throughout Oakland. We want to be like the Temescal. We want to be like Rockridge. We want to be like Montclair. But we are East Oakland, and we're gritty and we're ready, but we have a lot of excitement about where our future is going. We don't have a lot of grocery stores, but I envision a lot of mobile locations just like what we're talking about. And maybe that's what our community needs. More fresh fruits and vegetables in reach and in touch, and not so far where you have to go out of your way to get it. Allen Temple Baptist Church is just celebrated last Sunday our 98th year. So we've been there for a very long time in the community, in the trenches. We are based in a social justice framework. Most of our work revolves around what the community needs. And we're very excited to be in partnership with Fresh Approach. When we had this vision last year, and I have to say a thank you to Dr. Preston Maring, formerly of Kaiser. He's a doc with Kaiser. He is the doc who actually brought all of the farmers markets to the Kaiser Permanente sites. And Dr. Maring worked with us, and when we all came together about a year ago, Fresh Approach was right there. And I have to say thank you to them because they have been there with us as we've envisioned what our community could be. And now we're at a great precipice to envision where our community is going to go further. So thank you, Fresh Approach, to being there with us. Thank you for all of the staff at Fresh Approach. You guys are awesome, awesome, awesome. Being out there with us every Sunday, we really want to say thank you. And let's dream together.
Thank you so much, Gloria. Fresh produce is so important, and one of Fresh Approach's partners is they partner with local farms, and we have one of those farm managers here today. We have Jory Hansen, who's the farm manager from Buttercup Farm, a nonprofit based in Walnut Creek in Clayton, California. Her primary mission is to help others help themselves. It has been 25 years of history, service providing a supportive environment for people with emotional, mental, and physical challenge who seek to change their lives. Buttercup Farm supplies fresh cargo with fresh produce in season.
Buttercup Farms is really thrilled to be representing all of the small and medium-sized farmers that provide produce to Fresh Approach. We began selling our produce to them in 2015. I was thinking about that 98 years, and in 2015 in Richmond, and it was a real boon for us because it supplemented what we made at the farmers market over there. So we began delivering directly to their office in Concord, and we are still doing that today. We're really thrilled to partner with them for several reasons. One is that we sell it to them wholesale, which is less than we would get retail. However, we're sure to get paid, and this is really important for small farmers. We're sure to sell it. We know exactly what they're going to buy. And also, since we're also a nonprofit, we feel really good about partnering with somebody who has such a mission as you do. You pass those savings along to your customers, and we're happy to be part of that. Also, we have agricultural interns that Fresh Approach has provided opportunities for to volunteer and learn about their system. Let me also say that we're especially thrilled to be opening these in Oakland and providing some produce there. You know, we live in Clayton at the base of Mount Diablo. We come into Oakland and we appreciate all that Oakland has to offer. It is a very rich community. We would have no way to pay back by providing our produce because it would be too far for us to travel. So we're extra thrilled that Fresh Approach is now opening here in East Oakland, and we can do a little payback to this wonderful city.
Thank you, Dory. Our next speaker is Sabrina Knuckles. She's a resident of East Oakland and a part of the Center of Hope Church community. Sabrina is an advocate and a customer of Fresh's Cargo. She has a health fair. She's hosted a health fair in East Oakland for the past 7 years with an attendance of over 1,000 people. She is a community liaison, and we're so excited to have you, Sabrina.
Thank you guys so much for having us here today. Like she said, I'm from Center of Hope, and we're in East Oakland at 8411 MacArthur. And I too am a part of a good foundation. Our ministry has been going for 49 years underneath Ernestine Reams, and we're so excited about that. We thank God for this initiative that you guys have put together for Whole Food and for Fresh Approach. And we're no stranger to Whole Food. Whole Food has been connected in the community for a long, long time. You write to Whole Food, you ask them, they come on board. So Whole Food, you deserve a good hand clap yourself because you've done an awesome job in the community. And we're so excited now that this initiative is coming together, and there is a partnership with Fresh Approach and Whole Food and Center of Hope. We're so excited that you guys are really, really digging in the trenches. I too grew up in the same way. I grew up in the South, where food was basically the center of every decision, every thought, everything we did was based around food, and it wasn't necessarily healthy. But through some things and through some exposure like we're having now, I was able to come aboard and bring communication and bring some different approaches and build the health fair, and we're excited about that. And this initiative just falls along with what we've been doing for years and years and years, and we're so thankful that you guys came and you are really, really connected to the community. Because if you think about it, when you're rolling down East Oakland, fresh fruit is the last thing that comes to mind. There's a lot of things that happen in East Oakland, so we're really grateful that you guys have decided to do this initiative, and you deserve so many round applauses for doing such a great job into the community. So thank you again for letting us be a part of this initiative.
I think a lot of us are here because we have a passion for healthy food and food access. And I have one more story that I would like to share today. Well, not me. Daniel Summerhill is a poet and performance artist in Oakland. He's currently an MFA candidate at Boston's Pine Manor College. Daniel has performed throughout the U.S. as well as abroad in Europe. He's published 2 collections of poems, has been asked to perform at TED Talk, Def Jam Poetry with Dan Simmons, as well as Afropunk London. His work has appeared or is forthcoming in Pine Hill Reviews, Cosmonaut Avenue, The Voice, and other magazines. Daniel currently teaches at Skyline High School. Daniel is going to perform a spoken word poem.
Firstly, though, I wanted to thank Binta for inviting me to be here. When I heard about what was going on, I thought it was pretty awesome. And you know what she's doing in terms of providing an oasis, right? And putting the soul back into like fresh foods. I think that's pretty awesome. So I want to thank her for inviting me to be here. Also, when she first reached out, I thought about as an undergraduate student, I did a research project on food deserts and food swamps, and I thought about my findings, and what really stuck out to me is it is the access to fresh fruits and vegetables, but it's also the education around it. So once you do have access, it's okay. Well, what does this do to my body? How does this help me? How does this access play a part in my life? So I think that's a large part of it too, is the education component of eating healthy. So my grandfather, he lived till he was over 90 years old, and that in itself is a blessing. The last 12 years or so, I spent a lot of time with him. And one thing he harped on is making sure I didn't eat like he did. And I said, well, man, if you live to be 91 and you look as good as you did, I plan exactly to eat exactly what you did. And he kind of chuckled. So that's just an interesting story, because, he lived to be very old, and I got to see a lot of his eating habits. And towards the end of his life, he preserved a lot of time by just changing like his daily habits and what he put in his body. So shouts out to my grandfather. All right, so here's the poem. As a child, when I wasn't building a go-kart out of 2x4s and stray shopping cart wheels, I spent most of my time scaling the sidewalk of Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. 3.5 minutes to the corner store, about 2 inside to decide between Hostess cakes or quarter bag of Funyuns, another 3.5 minutes to get back home, then spent less than 5 eating the spoils of this 8-minute pillage. This was dinner 6 days a week. The 7th, I was lucky if I got a pack of top ramen to eat. My mother worked a job 2 cities away, and the nearest grocery store may as well have been there too. Now, over 2 decades later, I watch my students come into my classroom fistful of Funyuns and Hostess cakes. Their bodies, vessels for organisms they can't pronounce, and when the bell rings, buses transport them back to a desert they didn't choose to live in. In this desert, the greatest desire is not water. It is not protection from sandstorms or heat. The only thing spiking is their heart rates, weight gain, stroke probability, and too many trips to the corner store. If you haven't noticed by now, I'm fascinated with numbers. Like on average, life expectancy is 15 years shorter the farther you are away from a market. Or how it took me 2 buses and 2 hours to get to Safeway as a kid. How I was handed down too high blood pressure and how I'm afraid my 2-year-old daughter will inherit too many of daddy's health problems. It is no coincidence that health is connected to wealth. No coincidence that my students may never step foot into a Whole Foods market or grow up to like spinach or Brussels sprouts. My only hope is that they are able to grow old one day, that they are able to have choice between Burger King and baking fresh bread, able to walk down Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and return home with something that grew out of the earth. I imagine that one day we will all know what it is like to have this option. Only then will we begin to heal. Only then will we begin to discover what it is like to age gracefully. Until then, I make sure my students know about 5 food groups and how they affect their diet, how to eat Funyuns in moderation, how to pronounce genetically modified, and how to tell if their lunch includes them. Usually, their response is a mixture of smirks, rolling eyes, and I'm over it sighs. But lastly, I ask them, if you don't take care of your body, where are you going to live? Where are you going to live if you don't take a trip to a fresh market? I tell them, it is my prayer that you won't take 2 buses and 2 hours to get there. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. That was beautiful. Thanks again to everyone for coming out today. It's just so awesome to see the great work that Fresh Approach is going to do in the East Oakland community, and we at Whole Foods Market are so glad that we can be a part of it and support it. And thank you to everyone who shared their food stories today. I know all of us have those, and I hope that we go home and we think about those and we look for ways to get involved in continuing this amazing endeavor. We have Fresh Approach demoing, so please stop by, see them. We have Soul Oakland in the back. Visit Binta, who has some demos.
We have some students that were sponsored by Whole Foods. They were sponsored to take a Soul Food Greens class at UIDC in East Oakland, right down the street from Allen Temple, and they all were in the class. So please come and talk to us.
Awesome, congratulations. Yes, come talk to Binta and these students. Awesome. And we really highly encourage everyone to come out on Sundays, visit the new East Oakland route. We hope to see you there. Thanks so much.